couple of younger guys I know said on Facebook, Brandon said yesterday that some people just don't know life outside of school, to which I replied, once they finish they don't know life outside of work. And Gia said something today along the lines of people just don't try at all in life, they're just very much happy with whatever they're stuck with, and that's that. And I promised to make a video about that today. Look at this mustache. This is 4 close to 5 months of pure mustache. Okay, no shaving. Why am I starting off with this mustache? It's because don't be afraid to be different. People will tell you all kinds of things and they'll give you their advice. But who are they? Who are these people? They're just shit people that don't achieve anything. Why do you want to take their advice? Listen to everything people say, but then disregard most of it because they're just trying to bring you down on their level and keep you there. Do I think this mustache is the shit hot-est thing ever? Yes. Do most other people think so? No. Most of them would be highly embarrassed, and I have walked around with this outside for the last week or so. They'll be highly embarrassed to do that. They would just be like, oh, you know, whatever, okay? And I've had people laugh and they'll just ignore it completely, and then they just kind of, they can't look at me, they avert eye contact. I win. Okay, now that's as far as I'm going to say about okay, lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of whatever it was, hyenas or sheep, you know. It's good to know what other people think, but don't follow their advice because then you'll just be one of them. You should follow the advice of successful people if you want to be successful. And most of them will tell you, fail. Go and fail. And I'll give you my personal anecdote of failure. Okay, I've started doing this carbon fiber stuff 2 or 3 years ago. I love to read. I read everything. Non-fiction. And, well, there's several fiction things, but it's mainly things like the Odyssey and Iliad and stuff like that. Just the full-on classics. But non-fiction, I love to learn everything. My fiance is a scientist as well, so that's just excellent for me, isn't it? Now, carbon fiber. I read a little thing somewhere and I thought, wow, that seems really interesting, I'll read more about it. So, you know, I read 2 books, I think, watched a whole bunch of videos, I sought out people that are involved with this, spoke to some guy who sells it. He passed me on to a guy who would be able to help me a lot more. Dickie, help you so much. I mean, thank you so much for everything you've done. I can't thank you enough. And I've been reading and learning since then, and sharing what I've learned on my BigMilanCarbon channel. Now, currently, I'm trying to make basically what is essentially a katana handle from a samurai sword, a katana, to use as a gear knob for a car. So I've made the 2 caps. It basically a katana handle consists of 2 bits of wood, then there's a piece of kind of like leather on each side, manta ray skin or whatever it is, and 2 caps that go on, you know, one on each end of the 2 bits of wood, and the rope cord that is wrapped around in a very particular way. Currently I'm making those 2 caps out of carbon fiber. The first thing I need to do is make like dummy plugs, they're called, plugs. So first off I need to make the shape of those two caps. Then I need to use that to make a mold, a negative of that, right? And that's what I've done here. I've used wood, and I've made these two caps exactly to the shape I want it, and then I tried to mold it. Wood was a bad material, and this doesn't want to come out of the mold. I failed. And you know what, most people, I felt so terrible. This was months of sanding and painting, you know, spraying and sanding and spraying, and God, it was the most awful feeling. Months of work down the drain. Failure, massive failure. Several minutes later, I recollected the remains of my very large ego and put it back together into a slightly smaller ego. Went and learned how to draw things in 3D, you know, using software on a computer. Several days later, sent that file to a company, local company here, and they milled it, CNC milled it out of aluminium. See? There you go. Those two same shapes, except better. Now I have these two bits here. I couldn't have done that by hand. That would have been too hard. So I improved and got a better result because I didn't give up. Then what I had to do was the same process. I had to make a mold from this. I could have just made a mold out of this material, but that would be one mold. I want several molds at once next to each other, so I'm going to make copies of that here. My first attempt, you know, that comes out of there, and you end up with two holes like this. The green gel coat ended up wrinkled everywhere, including inside. The only important bits are the bits inside here, and there are wrinkles in there as well, so that just did not work. Failed attempt again. This time it was only like a day of work here, 1 day of work, and it failed. But because I've made a metal plug, I can reuse this 1,000,000 times. And my initial plan was to make about 5 copies of the mold, so that's one copy failed. But I learned something. The green resin, the green gel coat had wrinkled. I tried something else. I tried doing something else, and my second attempt, better in some ways. You know, you don't see those wrinkles there and stuff, but there are still small wrinkles. Still small wrinkles. The second attempt failed. At this point, I'm really frustrated. You know, I've got to make 5 copies and 2 already have failed. But I'm learning slowly. So I'll call up Dickie, and he says, the gel coat's too thin. Okay, so I'll try a thicker gel coat. Third attempt. I apply a thick gel coat over that. I mean thick, like, you know, 3 or 4 millimeters. And then over the top I lay down 3 or 4 layers of fiberglass, and then carbon fiber over the top of that to give it more strength, to keep its shape. I've put too much catalyst into the resin that goes over the top, and it just overheated. You can see here in the middle how it's all cracked and chipped, possibly. Yeah, you can see that. Fortunately though, and this was a nerve-wracking night, because I had to leave this and let it set and then go there today, just now, and take it out. Took it off. That surface is perfect. That is perfect. The only thing is this tiny little bubble there, which is not important because that gets cut off anyway. You're just left with this shape. So that's okay. And I need to learn another thing. I need to make sure I get all the corners perfectly so I don't get any little bubbles like that. So this is mostly a success. I will just need to keep the percentage of catalyst smaller. There'll be more resin going over the top of this, so this should be no problem. But now I need to watch out for that and a little tiny air bubble. So if you plan to do something, expect to fail. If you're not prepared to fail, don't do it. you will fail. And that's how you learn. Every failure is a lesson. And if you're not gonna pick yourself up again, then you'll just stop at that point, and that's where your attempt ends. You don't succeed, you fail. If you fail and you fail and you fail and you fail before you and each time you learn a lesson, the next time you're going to succeed. The important lesson here is not to fail and keep going. It is to fail, learn from that, and then keep going. Don't be afraid to fail. Get out there and start failing. One more quick note about not knowing anything outside of school or work. It is my personal opinion, which shouldn't matter to you a great deal, it matters to me very much, is that I must learn things all the time. By learning, I improve my own happiness, I guess. I learned the other day that they can actually now do quantum. They have quantum microscopes. I think it works by throwing a bunch of quantum particles onto whatever you're examining and seeing how many of them go through, and senses how many have gone through and how many have bounced off. Whatever. This is awesome. This is amazing. I'm planning to buy a microscope, just a normal optical sort of microscope. I'm not sure what the technical term is called. 1000 zoom, and they go for about $400 or something like that. Just as a joke, I thought I'll check how much scanning electron microscopes are. The ones that have the really high detail pictures. You always see those flies' heads and eyes and stuff like that. That sort of thing. They're about $2,000-$3,000. That's amazingly low. Something like that would have been infinitely expensive 10 or 20 years ago. So this just makes me happy, Like I said, I plan to buy this microscope. I want to look at different things. Say here. Maybe I want to examine that in there and see what's actually going on, or, it's just cool. It's damn cool looking at things under the microscope. It's so much fun. You can learn about, say an ant. You can't tell what an ant looks like, but you put him under a microscope, bang, huge. You can learn about all kinds of biology, cell structures and anatomy of all kinds of things. It's really fun stuff. The more you learn, the more opportunities you will have in life. They tell you to go to school and to uni and all this kind of stuff so you can get a good job. That's great. But you're going to work for someone, and you're going to have a boss. And you might have a good income, but you might not. You'll probably just at best have an average income, which is good enough. I guess money doesn't mean everything, it's not everything. But money is great, god damn it. I wouldn't be buying a microscope if I was struggling, What good would it be to me? I'd have bigger things to worry about, so money is great. But the more you know, the more opportunities you have to get a job, or my suggestion is your own business. When you have a business, you will fail. Say this. I have trucks. I move furniture. That's where I get my money from. If I was starting a business with this stuff, which I actually pretty much am, but I'm in no hurry because I've got the income from the trucks. But if I was starting my business from this, I would be in some big trouble because I'm failing right now. But I can lean back on my other business until this takes off. And that's why it's great having your own business. It's just damn good. I think Richard Branson, I know I'm talking about him, but I think he said, and I'm not sure about this, that you should have as many sort of spread your energy widely. I mean energy not in like some kind of woo-woo, hippie energy. I'm talking about your time and money should go into different areas, because if one fails, you can always lean back on the other ones. That's great advice, and that's what's happening here with me. I've got the money from trucks, but this will hopefully bring me more money than the trucks one day. I hope very much. But for now, it is just lingering, it's getting there, but it's lingering. So, and this is happening because I know more than what I learnt in school and work. There's more to me than work and school. This is really, really exciting. You have no idea. I just want to jump up and down all the time about this. It's fun. It is damn fun. A lot of hard work, a lot of disappointment, but when you succeed, man, it's fun. It's good. And you will have different aspirations and goals in your life. Chase them, go after what you find interesting, whatever it is. Learn stuff all the time, and you'll find what really drives you to succeed. But then again, ignorance is bliss as well. So the easiest way to be happy is to be really stupid. Because then you just won't care about, global warming and hunger and wars and things. You'll just be happy living your own, little insignificant life, really. I mean, and who's to say that's not just as good? So it's up to you. Do what you want, but I highly suggest you go out there and learn as much as you can, because you never know where that's going to take you.